All right, I was on the phone at midnight tonight when a call came through from overseas. My brother from another country and another mother, CJ was calling, and it woke me up and I saw, oh my God, and I didn't get his call. I immediately called back though, and we got to talking. I was telling C about my little podcast journey and stuff, and he was just dropping nugget after nugget of weight loss gold on me. I thought, C, please, man, I've got an accountability partnership with one person, right? There's only one listener on this podcast, CJ. I thought, man, you and me and my audience of one, man, and so you remember the premise that I dropped on you, that this is a premise, it's an accountability partnership, but it's on the premise that these guys who are muscular, and we've got guys in our world. I've met, TJ, our mutual friend, who is strong and has been strong his entire life, and he's in such good shape. And I know that he comes to us and gives us advice with all the love in the world. But when you're a bit like I am and kind of like you were, now you're a tall dude. You're like 6'6" or something crazy. So you carry it well. But you were kind of you called it puffy or chunky. What did you call the word?
We like to say fluffy. Fluffy. It just sounds a little better than fat.
Fluffy.
Sounds better than fat.
Yeah, fluffy. So you were there, man. And I know that for me, at least, when I get advice, even from someone like Naomi, who's my partner, who's in incredible physical shape, it's almost like when she gives me advice, it's like, you don't understand. You're gorgeous. Look at you. You're skinny. So see from when we were talking, the premise of my podcast, the podcast is here as me being accountable to someone, man. But when we were talking privately, Bud, I just thought, I got to just push record on that conversation because it was helpful to me, man. And I know it's going to be helpful.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I'm happy to help because, I am a member of Team Fluffy. And so it's like anything else. When you like one of my good mates is actually the head of a addiction and recovery center. But he was in recovery. So when he's speaking to them, now he speaks with a sense of passion that I've been where you've been, and here are the strategies I use to get from out of it. Now, does that mean somebody who's lived a life of sobriety, maybe myself, can't go in there and drop some extreme wisdom? Absolutely not. Of course not. We want to learn from all kinds of people. But you're absolutely correct in saying that, it's good to hear it from somebody who's lived it, somebody who's been through it. And so my story was a little different because I played football over here in the States. And if you play football and you're a lineman and you're tall, you're supposed to be big, right? 300 pounds is not necessarily a bad thing for a big-time American football player. And so what happened was I carried that weight. And as I got older, I realized that this is no longer healthy. I'm not playing football anymore. I injured myself. And so football was taken from me and I wasn't able to have football, but I kept this massive physique and I knew it wasn't healthy for me. I didn't eat the way I was supposed to eat. I didn't exercise the way I was supposed to exercise. And it actually began to get worse because at least before I was playing football, so I at least had to do a lot of cardio and a lot of running and a lot of these other things. Whereas when I was done with football, it was kind of like I kept the same diet, but not the same exercise, routine. And so my body began to reflect that. You are a reflection of your choices. And so when we were talking earlier today, I was just explaining to you that when my son was born, that's when I finally decided to start making this a priority. I made my health a priority. Before, I never made it a priority. We were building a company. I wanted to build a multi-million-dollar business. Me and E.T., we're going to take over the world, up early, go sleep late, on the laptop, grinding all day, every day. And I was neglecting my health. And I realized when I had my son, I said, wait a minute, you the number one speaker in the world and win the Nobel Peace Prize, it's not going to mean it look good to you if you're not around to see it. And so you need to do something about your health. And while right now at 30, you're not necessarily life-threatening, heart disease, anything like that, if you continue down this path, that's where you're going to end up. And so, I decided to do something about it, Clint.
Yeah, man. And I'm at 45, just turned 45 a couple of days ago. And it's, I'm still at that age where, and here's the thing, man, is it seems like a lot of the people that I've seen that go from being where I'm at to being really healthy, say, even in their 50s. I can think of 2 or 3 blokes that I know down here in Australia. But it took something like, you got cancer, you're screwed. You've got something seriously afflicting. And it takes that for them to make the shift. And at an intellectual level, I don't want to wait for that to impact me emotionally. And yet, maybe that's what it takes, because the listeners of kind of this journey, and it's only been sort of 2 or 3 weeks that I've been on this journey and documenting it in this format. But as you know, man, I've been conscious of needing to make a shift for years. I've been talking about it with you for years, with you and with Eric, with ET and stuff. And yet I'm still only, I've been using the saying a lot to my audience of one, to my one podcast listener who listens to this, that I've been one of my mentors said years ago, you got to congratulate yourself for what you do approximately right. And it's weird, man, that this is so unimportant to me at a deep level that I can still only know exactly what I need to do and still only get it approximately right. It messes with my intellect to know that I'm so weak at a core level that something as important as the body that carries our soul through this journey called life, it means so little to me that I can only get it approximately right at best on a good day.
Yeah. No, and I think here's the thing. You're absolutely right. And I think it's what we prioritize, and you said it, because I know you. And when it's time for us to come over to Australia and there's an event going on, you are, like a bat out of hell, right? You got everything going on. The event's coordinated. People are running all over the place. You got your socks just right. You got your tie right. Naomi's doing her thing. The whole thing's going off. People are in the room crying. Lives are being changed. And all of these things are happening. So that tells me you have the capability to do what you put your mind to. And so where our focus goes, our energy flows. And so your focus has been on building your business, building your brand, bringing speakers over, empowering the people of Australia, all of these things. And you've had success in doing so because that's where your focus has been. So you have to ask yourself, in terms of getting healthy, am I interested? Am I committed? Or am I fully committed? And right now, the problem you're having is you're just interested in it. You're fully committed to blowing up your tours, your lecture series. You're fully committed. When it's time to bring ET over, you have never called me and said, "Hey, man, I don't know." You might have been a bit nervous. You might have had some anxiety about getting ready to do it. But at no point did you say, "Hey, I don't think we're going to be able to make this happen." Why? Because you were fully committed to it. And so if you were just interested in bringing over ET, you know how many people have called and been interested in hiring Eric Thomas? Millions. How many have been successful? Not many. And you're one of the ones who have been successful. Why? You said, I'm going to be fully committed. And the exact same results you got in that area will happen for you in the area of weight loss, but only when you become fully committed.
And so C brings up a bunch of good points there that and so I suppose we didn't even give the listener of one the backstory. CJ is the man that when I reached out to to Eric Thomas the first time some 4 or 5 years ago, it was C on the end of that conversation, not Eric. Eric doesn't run his own some of his Snapchat channels or it was Facebook at that time every minute of every day, and I happened to catch CJ on the end of that communication. So C is the way that Eric and his team describe the Holy Trinity. They describe it as Eric is the mouth, Carl is the hands, and CJ is the brains of that organization. So C is the coming from a depth and a weight of knowing what the hell he's talking about in a business sense. And that's why C can talk so accurately about my business world, because CJ and I have been in business together for some, 4 years now, 5 years now, every year bringing out Eric Thomas to Australia. So when he speaks, you see, how does he know you so well? That's because we are literally, even though we only catch up physically once or twice a year, and but it does feel like, you know, we're family, because, you know, I mean, man, these guys had me over to E's graduation. I've been in their homes. I've been in their church, you know, so that's why CJ can speak so intimately about that he knows me. So I suppose, see, here's the thing, man. If I am interested, and I would say probably just the recording of this accountability podcast, you know, in this format, it just makes me, it's almost like I'll do more to be committed to someone else than I will to my own health. Is there a hope, or is this another futile attempt? And it will take something horrible like me going to the doc and them saying your cholesterol has you 2 weeks away. How are you still breathing now? You just must have the heart of a lion to, with your cholesterol level, even be standing. You know, I don't want it to take that. But you're right, man, given that yesterday was one of the better days. I considered it was close to perfect day. You know, it was close, right? I ate really well with the nutrition I was supposed to eat in the morning. I ate 6 sushi rolls with tuna and healthy stuff instead of 3 for lunch. And then for about an hour after lunch, I was still hungry, so I ate another 3. So that's still well within the realms of acceptable. And I ate 2 cans of tuna and some crackers for dinner, and the nutritional supplements as well. So not quite perfect, but it's almost as close as perfect as I'm ever going to get, right? But then on the bad days, man, when I found out that you guys have got the veggie grill over there, oh, man, when I went to LA and I found that you can have a burger, I mean a burger, and you can still fool yourself that you're being healthy by saying this is vegan, and I can have a burger that looks like meat, smells like meat, tastes like meat. Man, we went over a little bit on that, and I put on weight when I was over in America, and I still only ate, because I'm at the moment, I'm doing vegetables and seafood, right? So I'm not quite vegan, but I'm on the vegetables and the seafood, and I'm still on milk and eggs. So, but what I'm off beef, chicken, and pork, right? Beef, chicken, and ham. I'm off the animals, the hard animals. It's like, you know, I'm off the hard drugs. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I mean, based on that as a snapshot, that I'm doing things approximately right, man, it does kill me that I still feel like the fact that I can only be approximately right, it kills the part of me that has the ability to go all in when something means a lot to me. When something means a lot to me, like the relationship I've built with you guys, that started off rooted in being a fan, right? Being a fan of ET, and that has developed into a friendship that I will carry with me to my grave. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that started off as me being an absolute fanboy, and it's developed into a business relationship and a social relationship, and, you know, and I never would have dreamed that, you know. Literally a week ago at Arnold's house, the seeds of that next relationship was planted, and I got to spend some significant time personally sharing a drink and talking business with Sylvester Stallone, my other childhood hero. It does frustrate me, man, that when I'm willing to go all in to do that, and for whatever reason, at whatever level, I haven't had the Trey moment where I just go all in on this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the old cliche, we've all heard it a million times. When you get on the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself before assisting anybody else. And I think that's true in this case as well. We all want to help people. We all want to do all of these things. But I'll tell you, you have to be around to do it, Glenn. I got a call. It just occurred to me when you said something about going to the doctor or whatever. I got a call from a friend of mine. Now, I say he's a friend of mine. A while back at my freshman year in school, I had got a summer job, and I worked on the assembly line at General Motors, building cars just for the summer. And there was a gentleman there, and he was probably in his 50s then, maybe, close to retirement. And we've kept a great relationship from then on. And that was, I mean, you're talking 2001, 2, so 15 years I've known this guy. And I hadn't heard from him in a couple of days when we usually check in once a week. And he gave me a shout, and he sounded a little off. And I said, "Hey, what's up?" And he said, "Well, I want to let you know I just got out of the hospital." And I said, "Really?" I said, what's going on? You all right?" He said, "I was playing golf the other day, and my mates were up on the green. They were waiting on me to chip a shot up, and my ball never came up. And they finally said, "You know, where is he at?" and I looked over. He said he was face down in the grass, and he had a major heart attack. And he was face down in the grass, unresponsive. They came over, pumped his chest. There was no cell phone reception in the area, so his buddy had to run about 300-400 yards. Finally, his cell phone got some reception. The other guy stayed there pumping on his chest. The EMT came. They rushed him to the hospital. Thank God he's alive, but he had to get a pacemaker. And he said, you know, it's funny. I went to the doctor about a year ago, and they said I was okay. Not great, but okay. And he said, I thought I was okay, and I started picking up smoking cigarettes again. And he said, I was feeling so cocky and so confident that I started smoking cigarettes again. And the doc told him that was within a couple seconds of killing him. And so you're right. You do have to do something about it before that moment comes. We know that the life choices we make eventually will lead to that moment. Is that moment going to happen at 55? Is that moment going to happen at 65, 75, 85? We see people living to the hundreds, right? And some of it's probably just dumb luck, right? Maybe just some people, hey, you just got the genetics or whatever. But we owe it to everybody we love to be around for as long as possible. Let me tell you something, brother. Naomi might live till she about 200, and she deserves to have you around as long as possible. You have a son. And so it hasn't clicked for you, but it needs to click for you that one day they could be at your funeral, not because of, hey, bad luck, something happened, you got hit by a bus, but because you weren't willing to make the sacrifices for them. So when you tell me you're looking out for other people first, and that's why you prioritize your health second, I call BS and say you're looking out for yourself and not them. Because if you were looking out for them first, you absolutely change your diet, because you'd say they are the most important people in my life, and if I die, I'm going to kill them, and they're not going to be able to live the life that they want to live. Your son is not going to live the life he wants. You're not going to see your grandkids. That's not being selfish, Glenn. So you can't hide under the guise of, oh, I just love to help so many people, that's why I'm fat. No, you're fat because you like to eat, and you're not prioritizing them over you. You're prioritizing a fried chicken sandwich over your partner and your kid. So let's not hide under the, golly gee, I want to go hard for everybody else. No, we need to start going hard for ourselves if we really care about everybody else.
Yeah, man. And definitely, man, what you probably, I'm glad you misinterpreted kind of what I was saying, because that was gold and true. That was true. What I was saying about the podcast, though, is me kind of trying to fool myself into doing the selfish thing by recording this podcast and having a product being put out there that I'm trying to just fool my unconscious to do that thing that it left unchecked would not want to do, so that I can do exactly everything you said. Because I've tried to convince it logically that what you said is true. I've tried to convince it emotionally. I've tried to, I've broken down in tears listening to speakers who impact me, like Eric Thomas has, like you just did then. You know what I mean? It's like I've tried everything to convince that behavior that in that moment when I'm hungry, it truly is like that lion that sees that blood, obviously at a deeper level, because we do have control over our behavior, and the lion with the shark with the blood doesn't have control. He has to, like in Finding Nemo, you remember that when the blood goes up the nose and he turns crazy or whatever? It's like literally that meat in particular,
Absolutely.
But food is like one of the most addictive drugs that because I've never been addicted to a drug. The drug I'm addicted to, man, that I'm fighting with every day, that I win some days and I don't win other days, man, it ain't even cake. It ain't even cake and sweets for me, man. It's convenient, filling ribs or food or meals or whatever, man. It's freaking, I tell you, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to a crack or a heroin or a cocaine or whatever. But man, if it is this deeply seated that logically we can know one thing, and behaviorally in that moment we somehow justify just doing it just this once, man, I now see why people get addicted,
100%. And I think you can take something from the people who are addicted and saying that it's a process, right? They have a 12-step process, and the first step is admitting, I believe, that you're powerless over it. Or one of the steps is admitting that you're powerless. So you're doing the right thing and admitting that that is a problem for you, right? And here's the thing, you're not, 700 pounds, right? You're saying, hey, I need to get in better shape, but you're recognizing the problem before it's too big of a problem. So now that we know that it's a problem, we can start putting those filters in place that work for us, because there are things you can do. I remember when I started this journey, I said, all right, cool. The very first thing I can do, and we'll just go in stages now, the very first thing I can do is any kind of soda, Coca-Cola, all of that, it's got to go. I'm just replacing all of that with water. And I kept that habit for 30 days. And guess what? It became a habit where my body started craving more water. And so then I was able to add in something new. When we say, all right, cool. You know what? No sweets on weekdays. Just Monday through Friday, not one sweet. And I kept changing slowly but surely these habits. And what happened is I would implement them for 30 days and they would become a habit. And so guess what? I've actually removed a lot of the cravings that I might have had from before. I've actually removed those cravings. I don't crave stuff like I used to. I used to cry. I'm a pizza guy. That was my thing. I was a pizza guy through and through. I could eat pizza 7 nights a week with absolutely no problem. But what happened is when I start removing that and replacing it with other things, Glenn, my body started to adjust. And then guess what? I go back and I cheat and I eat pizza and I feel terrible. I feel all sluggish. I feel slow. I'd need a nap. I wouldn't really be like ready to run around with my kids and stuff like that. Let me tell you, the way I'm eating now with the salads, my wife's been buying organic everything. We eat very healthy and balanced in the water. I have more energy than I've ever had. And I got a 3.5-year-old son who I'm talking about is the Tasmanian devil. And it takes a lot of energy to keep up with him. But guess what? I feel great now because of my diet. I changed my diet and I'm able to play with my son. So guess what? If I was 300 pounds and I just got done eating some pizza and we sat on the couch and I sat there and my son said, Daddy, I want to go outside and play soccer. I want to go play basketball. I want to go play baseball. I'd look at him and say, hey, son, maybe tomorrow. Guess what? He says it now. Boom, I'm on the couch. We're outside 10 minutes after we eat dinner, running around the whole yard playing baseball. Why? Because I've chosen to make a lifestyle change. And so my body doesn't crave those things. When you replace something, when you take something away, you have to replace it. And so my buddy who's in addiction, he says that a lot of guys would take away the alcohol or, whatever the drug is, the heroin. Most of them pick up other habits, right? You pick up other things, like hopefully something constructive, right? Trading baseball cards. My buddy likes to go to a lot of concerts and tape the concerts. He tapes them. He's got all this recording equipment. And I mean, he probably goes to 100 concerts a year. That's what he's replaced the drug with something else. So don't just take stuff out of your life. What new are you putting into your life? And don't tell me, I'm listening to Eric Thomas, because you've been listening to Eric Thomas. If you're taking away those favorite foods, maybe we should pick up a new hobby, or a new hobby, a new habit that we can replace these things with. I don't know what it is. Maybe bowling. Maybe you pick back up the guitar, Glenn. I know you sing. You go out on, 3 nights a week and you play your guitar. Something that gets your juices firing, something that fulfills you, much in the same way food is, because it's psychological. Because be honest, when you get full, you're full, right? So I would trick my body and I'd say, okay, you want this pizza so bad. All right, cool. Go in there, drink 3 glasses of water, eat a big old fat chicken, grilled chicken, and salad, and then wait 10 minutes and then see if you still feel like ordering the pizza. You know what? I never want to order it anymore. So it's just the psychological effects of the food we think we need. But at the end of the day, when we're full, we're full. I didn't get super full off the salad and grilled chicken. Have you ever been to over here we got Red Lobster, or wherever you go, right? You go, you sit down and you say, what do you want to drink? You say, oh, well, I have a Pepsi. And then they bring you your Pepsi and they go, hey, what would you, we also got free bread that they bring to the table, right? And you sit there and you eat all kind of bread. And you're really there for the all-you-can-eat shrimp. And they bring the bread out. And then they say, well, here's your salad. And then they bring you another Pepsi. Here goes more bread. By the time you get to the shrimp, which is what you were there for, you eat 2 or 3 shrimp and you're done. Why? You're full. But psychologically in your head, you went there with anticipation of I'm eating. There's going to be no shrimp left in the ocean by the time I finish with this place. And it's not the truth. It's just psychological. So if it's psychological, then we need to actually replace whatever that habit was, whatever that craving was. Let's replace that with something else. And I replaced that with playing with my son, right? I love hanging out with him and going outside and doing all those things. That's where I derive my happiness from now. So your happiness that you got from food, let's try to derive that from somewhere else.
Man, it made me think about something I thought about a while ago. I thought, because I've heard about this drug, and I'm certainly not going to play with it, the existence of the drug made me think that supposedly there's a drug that you take the drug and it inhibits the absorption of the food you eat, so it pretty much goes in the mouth and out the butt, right? Like you're leaking fat out your butt. It's nasty, right? It's that. But I thought to myself, what part of the eating process is it that I kind of like? If there was a way to put a tube in my mouth and it went all the way down through me without absorption whatsoever and just came straight out my butt, right? So I ate it. Is it the taste? And I thought, you know what? No, if I could taste it and do that, it still wouldn't be fulfilling, because that's, other than the nastiness of it, you know what I mean? So is it the taste? Is it the feeling of fullness? Is it that kind of, which part of the process is it that is addictive? Is it just, and part of me thinks sometimes, is it the purchase? Is it like shopping, that I like the act of going down to Subway and getting a big old sub and whatever? So the first substitution I did make, without knowing your formula that I frickin' love, is I thought to myself, what part of a chicken sandwich or meat, hamburger, what part of that do I like? Will I get just as much out of a vegetarian and tofu sushi as I will out of a chicken sushi? And so I didn't make that. I experimented for a couple of weeks just doing vegetables and seafood, right? Tuna and whatever. And really, that's been 2 months now. So it's okay now. I know that I'm okay removing red meat, chicken and pork and beef and all of that out of my world. And man, I'm still good, right? And so maybe these little incremental steps that I've replaced one habit, eating a beef hamburger and eating the chicken, again, maybe I've unwittingly done one step of your formula, but I'm still very much a work in progress, that I still, like you say, I've got to find that thing habitually that I can replace, because it is still discipline, man. It's every day I'm disciplined doing this eating right thing. It ain't unconscious that I just now go and have a salad. I have to fight to go and have the sushi tuna roll and the can of tuna. It's still a battle.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yeah, of course. And here's the thing. And I came to this realization, right? And I used to say, man, genetics play a big part of it, right? I got, my family is not obese, but, we're bigger. We're made bigger, right? And what happened, Glenn, is I actually started visiting people's homes who were in shape, right? So if you go to Naomi's refrigerator, I'm pretty sure it looks a certain way, right? So we would like to just chalk it up to, hey, Naomi, God just blessed her with these unbelievable genes. And he did, no question. But when you go to her, she's not just eating McDonald's every night. She's not waking up having, a quarter pounder. No. I've sat there and eating with Naomi. She's ordering salads. She's drinking a lot of water. She's getting up early and exercising. She looks like that for a reason. My buddy Josh, I go to his house. His wife's organic everything in there. When they go out, they don't have to order the biggest size pizza in the world and scarf out. We can get some chicken salads. We can get some, some salmon, some grilled salmon over, arugula. You know what I mean? Like they make different choices. And so I said to myself, you got to get rid of the excuses, and you have got to be able to make the correct choices that are going to lead to you living a fulfilling life. And guess what, Glenn? I'm down probably close to 100 pounds, 80 some pounds. Man, I just feel better, bro. At the end of the day, isn't that all we want to do? I want to feel better. Not even cosmetically. I was fluffy when my wife married me, right? So she doesn't seem to care too much, but I just feel better. Not because I look better. I feel better because I have more energy, right? I'm more on fire. I used to grind hard. I grind even harder now. I got more energy to play with my kids. I got more energy to get up and go. And to me, that's what's important. I want to be happy. I want to feel like my best self. I feel stronger. I feel more confident. I feel all of those things. And if that's what we're really looking for, I don't know anybody who's had a weight issue, who's dealt with the challenges, that's eaten a big double cheeseburger, a huge heaping of fries, and a big old Coke, who got done eating and said, yes, I feel great. Let's go attack the day. I've never met that. But guess what? I see people who eat a salmon salad. There's a place around the corner me and my wife go, and they have this grilled salmon over the top of the salad. And 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have said, okay, this is a great appetizer. What are you bringing in next? And I go there now and I eat it, and guess what? I leave there and I'm going back to work and I'm firing on all cylinders. I feel better. And so we need to start prioritizing ourselves and saying, hey, nothing is more important than this. No amount of money, no relationship, nothing else is important to me, more important than me taking care of my body. Because if I mess this up, and none of it's gonna matter anyway. My bank account, nobody cares. My partner's nobody cares. My kids, nothing else matters if I mess this up. And guess what? Unfortunately, you only get one body. I'd love to trade mine in for TJ's. Trust me. If I could trade mine in and buy a TJ, I'd do it right now. But unfortunately, man, this is the only one we got, brother.
Yeah, man. No, mate, again, you can only say you're right so many times before, that we're all right. And guys, put in some context, you heard what CJ said. 100 pounds. So let's work that out in kilos. That's 45 kilos dropped. Man, that's big, man. That's so I'm down to letting and the context when I would have peaked in the time I knew you, and that would have been about 2015. So a year or two into knowing you, I would have peaked at about 129. So as of today, I'm at about 116. So that's 13 kilos. So that's 30 pounds. So I'm down a bit, man. But man, it's been the grind, and it's. But I tell you, it's funny, man. One slip. Like what happened was, I was recording the podcast. I lost my phone. I left my phone at the rental car place over there in the States. I didn't have scales to weigh myself every day, and I didn't have the convenience, I suppose, of being home, having supplements. I took some of the supplements with me, but it was a pain in the butt, and Naomi was eating anyway. So I tell you, one slip without having my eye on that ball, and man, I put on kilos, and I was still eating. I still didn't work. The one place I didn't slip, no beef, no chicken, and I'm in America, the home of beef, chicken, and pork, right? And I had none of it. That's why when I found the veggie, have you ever been to the Veggie Grill? Have you ever been there?
No, I've never been.
Oh man, in LA, this place, Veggie Grill. I don't know how healthy it is.
LA's the best place if you want to be vegetarian.
Oh
for sure.
Man, but I got to figure out, is this burger, despite the fact that it's vegan, how bad for us is it? But they have somehow made chicken taste like chicken, and it's made out of who knows what vegetables. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
man.
For sure, 100%. Well, here's the thing. The thing I because we travel a lot, and that was always another one of my excuses, right? Let's just be real. We come to Australia. Since I've been on this journey, I've been to Australia 3 times, I think. Yep. And you're right. I don't have the convenience, because guess what? I'm in my house right now. I can go in there and I got fruit ready. I got the vegetables ready. I got my salad already prepared and all those things. And I'm in the convenience of my own home. And guess what?
It's all in there for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. But the key now is you have to take it to that next level and say, how can you get home court advantage, home field advantage when you're on the road?
On an away game.
And so now, absolutely. And so now I'm being more disciplined when I go out of town. I say, okay, if you are going to eat a little bit more, and let's just be honest, when you go out of town, I'm not going to eat perfect. But what I can say is I can up my exercise regimen, one. And then two, if I do gain a couple pounds, it's not the end of the world. When I get back, get your butt back in gear. Because what happens is I go to Australia for 2 weeks and I fall out of rhythm. And then I come back and it takes my body a while to get adjusted. And I haven't unpacked my suitcase yet. And I got to unpack and I got to clean the house. I see my kids and my wife. Next thing you know, 3-4 months later, you're still eating crap and you haven't gotten back. So when you get back to home court advantage, immediately resume the grind and don't look at the couple kilos that you gained as a death sentence. Look at it as a setback for a comeback, right? Because even though you probably gained a couple kilos, you didn't gain them all back. And so you still are at an advantage when you get home and you get back to home court advantage, hit it hard again. And so that's something that I'm working on now is so my kind of journey has gone in phases where I was doing the same thing you did. If I'm at home, I eat great, but I go on the road, boom, I gain a bunch of weight. Now, the last time I was on the road, I think for 5 or 6 days, for the first time ever in my life, I actually lost 2 pounds on the road. And I did it through discipline. And when I go out to eat and when we do all these things, I'm still ordering what I know I should be ordering. And I stepped up my exercise regimen. And for the first time in my life, not that long ago, I actually lost weight being on the road. And it was a great feeling.
Nice, man. Nice. You know, because I was eating all vegetables and I got the Fitbit, I got the step thing, right? I got the boy here. And I did more steps than I'd ever done because I'm in America. I'm walking around. We're doing a lot of stuff, you know. We went to the Grand Canyon and all of that. So I did more steps than ever. I was at Gold's Gym a couple of days and, you know, Arnold's Gym and, you know, he got us the membership. Last year he got us a membership to Gold. So we're down there. I actually thought I was going to come home having stayed the same, maybe even lost a couple of kilos. And, man, little wake-up call that I put a couple of kilos on. So, you know, anyway, but that's why, you know, I just say that maybe that veggie grill, it may be all good in the marketing sense. It's all veggies. I'll order 2 burgers instead of 1. You know?
Yeah. No. You got to be careful. You got to, hey, the best of the best. They know what's on that menu. They know how many calories are in it, right? Ignorance is not an excuse. And so if you don't know, you need to find out. And if you can't find out, you need to eat somewhere else. Yeah,
that's it. But, man, I've certainly gotten accustomed to what you said before, man. I'm loving the salmon. I really love salmon. I've even found a way to enjoy tuna. I don't love it like, you know, but man, so I've made those little shifts, and now the next level. The next thing, man, are you still on dairy?
Yes. Well, I like cheese, yes. But I've never been a huge milk drinker. You know, I do, you know, some supplements and stuff, but I've never been just a huge, you know, gallon of milk kind of guy. Yeah. So I would say in the form of cheese, yes.
Yeah. Nah, man. Mate, well, man, I tell you, I love it that you've, you know, on this little journey, man, you're the epitome that it was really just 1 year. It was in the space of 1 year that we all noticed. And you were sitting there going, man, I was working out last year and you didn't notice. But it just all happened for you in that 1 year where everyone started to say, yo, C, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. And I'm still at it, man. And it doesn't get any easier. You just get stronger.
Yep. Well, man, I'll tell you, I'm honored to have you and E in my corner. Me and E have been connecting most weeks. We've been connecting one-on-one most weeks. And, man, I feel like the most blessed person in the world, man. I don't know how it happened, you know, that I got accountability buddies that are all my idols. And, man, I know in some ways, you know, I'm the envy of everyone in the world. But what that means, it doesn't make it any easier, you know. Just because I've got Arnold Schwarzenegger holding me accountable, E.T. holding me accountable. Man, it's still that choice in that moment to eat that hamburger or eat that, you know, tuna sushi. Man, it's still, the struggle is still real, man. The struggle is always real. I empathize, man, more with addicts now more than I ever have before. I used to judge, man. I used to think, how can you be addicted to that? You know that stuff's horrible for you. Look what it's done to your life. Man, it's exactly the same what food's done to ours, you know?
Yep. 100%, bro. Hey, why don't you before we jump off, hold yourself accountable on something else, man. When are we coming back over?
Man, well, Naomi's saying that you're. I'm not sure if it was Ashante or Lashana or whomever it might have been, but that you guys can't come back in the foreseeable future. Is that the move, or what's the plan?
Nobody ran that by me.
Wow, I'm going to say to Naomi's because I said to her, "You can't go. You've got to talk to C about these big decisions. You don't want to hear from the squad. The squad's awesome." But man, that's good. Then now that you've said that, I'm because I thought that really 2017 was off the table.
Yeah. I know we're going. We do have a couple overseas trips planned, I think, and so maybe that's why she said it, but I'm not sure. But I'll check into it. I think we're going to. I want to say Europe a couple times maybe, but I'm not sure. But I'll check it out, man. But yeah, we need to get back over there, man, and make something happen.
Oh, man, for sure. Well, we got some big stuff on the pipeline. Just tell E the Will Smith thing, because that was pretty exciting, right? It's been postponed till at least late 2018 because he's got a couple of movies that got in the way. We were close, man. We were close. But guys like Will and even E, you guys in that caliber, Will Smith, E.T., you guys have more opportunities to do a speaking event than you have time to do speaking events. So you guys get the opportunity, of course, as Will does, to pick and choose. We were real close. We got closer than most people have ever gotten. Just Suicide Squad 2 took precedence over Glenn Twiddle. You know, what are you going to do?
Nice.
But we got some big stuff, man. So what I'd love to see, and this is what I was thinking, if Will Smith had to come good, how good would that have been to have Will Smith and Eric Thomas on the same tour? That would have been just...
Oh, yeah.
So whatever our next big one is, I reckon we do that. When we do that, we do something that's just gigantic. And that's but that being said, if E doesn't want to do something where E's the main event like he has been year after year after year, E's the headline player at everything he does. It's up to you guys, man, and I'm keen and malleable to do whatever you guys need to do.
Sweet. Let's figure it out, brother.
Love it. Thank you, my man. On behalf of whoever listens to this, man, as a fellow Fluffy, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Really appreciate you, brother.
100%. Thanks for having me on, Glenn. Love you, bro.
No worries, man. See you later, bud.